All right, this is probably the last dispatch from USA basketball camp, specifically as it relates to Caitlin Clark. But everybody's been talking about it because it is the topic of interest, given she hasn't played basketball in so long, and given, of course, who she is. And there's one thing I did notice in the latest round of commentary, which is a consistency. There is a consistency when it comes to Caitlin Clark. And that consistency is that everybody is saying one thing, whether they change, the specifics of it, or they talk about defense, or they talk about other aspects. The one consistent theme is that she looks like herself and she is back. Sabrina Merchant said that on the Athletic show, which was the latest bit that I've seen. And here's what she had to say about what she saw from Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark back on the court, super impressed with Caitlin just being engaged while she was out and getting back to being able to play. It was a combination of USA players going against USA players, and then also USA players going against the scout team, which was just players from small colleges all across North Carolina sort of helping out with that scout team practice. And, she looked like Caitlin. The step back three was there, the passes were there. And she was not playing with Aaliyah Boston. Some of the bigs didn't know what to do with her passes. There was one time where she passed it to Hamby, and Hamby brought the ball down. It's you can't do that. This is not you have to keep it up, right? Right up. Just not expecting where that was coming. But FIBA, naturally, just a lot more physical than other levels of basketball, even more physical than the WNBA. So having to see Caitlin go at scouting players who were, instructed to play at a FIBA level of physicality was interesting, considering how long she's been out and the fact that she's still ramping up injury-wise. But she looked good. She was just so happy to be there.
That's an important part too, how happy she is to be there, of course, given how long she's been out. That play that Sabrina was referencing, I have to imagine, is this one right here, where Caitlin makes the post entry pass to Hamby. The kind of pass that only Caitlin Clark can make, and Hamby puts the ball on the floor as was described here. You'll see it. So some ball movement at the top of the key. Caitlin has it here. And she's going to make the kind of pass once she gets it back here that really only she would make. And that's a hell of a post-entry pass, but she did put it on the floor there, winds up getting blocked and going the other way. So, that's part of getting used to playing with Caitlin Clark. If you remember at her rookie year, a lot of her teammates dropped a lot of passes, I think, that they weren't prepared for because she sees things before they kind of happen. She credits her soccer background for that, but that is a special part of her game. But it wasn't just Sabrina, obviously, who said that. It was also, Annie, who I talked about in the defense video. But again, same consistent theme.
Caitlin coming off of this injury, this was kind of the first time that we all have seen her operating at 100% since her injury. And she herself admitted, even though I feel like I'm at 100, there's still a lot of things that a lot of rust that I need to shake off.
What did you see from Caitlin in USA camp being healthy?
Still there. That was one of my leads, was just, that shot of hers that we're also familiar with, very much still there. Her speed was coming back, which I thought stood out. Obviously, her timing on passing, that still was impressive.
Then she gets to the defense part, which I covered in the last video. But, the same basic themes. You go to Kara Lawson, the coach of Team USA. This is what she had to say about Caitlin Clark being back on the floor.
So it's only been one day, but what did you see from her so far? Have you had conversations with her about how she can, continue to kind of get acclimated to USA basketball after being offered?
Yeah, so this is the first time I've coached Caitlin or spend any time with her was today. She's a terrific player, really locked in and focused. The conversation I had with her pre-practice was that this is going to be one of the most fun experiences she's had because everyone at this level loves the game, a lot. And when you're growing up, in high school, not every player loves the game like you love it. And then you go to college and not every player loves the game like you love it. I'm talking about the elite skill, the elite competitors. Then you get here and you're like, whoa, there's more people like me. This is fantastic. So I just want her, just like all the other players, to enjoy the experience, enjoy being with like-minded people. And I thought she looked good, on both ends. And I thought, that she hadn't missed a beat. So
she looked good on both ends and hadn't missed a beat. I mean, the both ends part, puts a little bit of the defensive criticism. I'm trying to be fair into perspective. The other thing with the defense aspect of it is with Caitlin, everybody's going to be looking for one thing to nitpick. It was turnovers at one point because it's basically, you wind up grasping at straws. Again, that doesn't mean there aren't areas of her game to improve. I've talked about that before, mid-range, defensively, all those sort of things. But, it's almost humorous how one thing gets highlighted so much because she's highlighted so much herself from her highlights. And then there was Sue Bird, who also spoke about Caitlin Clark. Again, this was after the first day.
Yeah, I thought she looked great, right? I mean, here's a player that didn't get to play this summer, all in, didn't get to play a lot of basketball really in the last year plus. So for this to be the first day back, she looked great. The things that are going to be hard is always the conditioning part. It's really hard to get in basketball shape without playing basketball. So I'm sure that's going to, come as the camp comes. But she looks great regardless outside of that. And the other thing is like rhythm. Right, you got to find your rhythm, and I'm sure everybody saw that one step back in transition she had. So the rhythm looks great, but more than anything, you want all these players to just be around each other, right, off the court, on the court.
Last question for you to be.
So that's the most important thing and the consistent thing. We can pick apart a play, we can look at some of the highlights, all that sort of stuff. But I did think it was noteworthy after once again that I saw, somebody comment on Caitlin Clark at Team USA. The theme remains the same. She looked like herself. She looked like she was back. It looked like, the conditioning, all these things, rhythm, rust, as she mentioned, those things are naturally going to be a part of getting back onto the floor and getting back into the, rhythm of things. But for all the trained eyes, all the people who were in the building, for them all to be saying the same thing is validation that, she's healthy, everything, nothing fell off the map, and that you can only expect it to go up from here. And she followed that same theme in saying that, she felt all the way back and 100%.
Competitive practice, obviously a lot different. I've been working out and playing pickup and stuff like that, but to be in an environment like this is really good for myself.
Are you at 100? Is that
at 100%? Yep. Obviously, I'm gonna knock off a little bit of rust, get my legs back, but my body feels really good. I feel like I'm in a really good spot. So, main goal is to stay in that.
Yeah, there's
So there you have it. Caitlin Clark all the way back. We'll see her back in action in March with part of Team USA. There'll probably be less just general curiosity around her specifically at that time, but that was the point of consistency. And that's the verdict that I think everybody wanted to hear when it comes to CC.